don't like that. So I put them together because I think doing them together makes more sense when you get to understand them a little bit. So I'm going to call this 2, 2 and 2, 3. I put them together. So we're going to do adding and subtracting. Integers. It's much easier to understand them when they're together. So with adding and subtracting integers, a number line is a great way to visualize adding and subtracting, but number lines are only good for so much. They take a lot of time and you can't do really, really big numbers, right? So we're just going to look at a couple problems where you can use a number line to help you add and subtract. So this is not something that you're going to do when you do actually, like, you can draw a number line, but if I give you like negative 1,000 plus 462, you're not going to draw a negative 1,000. It's impossible. I mean, you could, but you'd be there forever. But it's a good way to start visualizing how to add and subtract integers. So let's say I want to know what negative 1 plus 6 is. I'm going to start my number line. Now, when you use a number line approach, you always start at 0. Plan a line at 0 for that reason. We always start at 0. And we follow what it says to do. It says go to negative 1. Go to negative 1. I'm at negative 1. I'm right at negative 1. Then it says add 6 to it. So I'm going to count 6. So I'm going to go to the right. So negative means left. I should probably say that. Negative means left. Positive means right on a number line. So I went left 1 for negative 1. Now I'm going to go right 6, not to 6, but 6 total integers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my answer. Answer's 5. So it says go left 1 and then go right 6. Left 1, right 6. That's exactly what that negative 1 plus 6 means. Okay, let's do another one. Negative 4 plus 7. Now I'm going to write it in words. Tell me to go left 4 and then right. So negative 4, left 4, plus 7, right 7. So I'm going to go negative 4. So I go back 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. Now I'm going to go to right 7. So to count 7 positions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's my answer? 3. That's looking at number lines, but imagine if you did have a big number like negative 25 plus 60. It'd be really, really hard to put up a number line. So a number line is just a visual of what we're doing. We need to do it without a number line. It takes too much time, and it's actually much easier to do it without a number line, much quicker. So
Miss,
how do we do it without? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say you can do like a small one, like if you're talking about like 25 and you probably like taking away from like 6 or something, just like put certain numbers on the number line and it'll get you your answer right there. Like you want to put 25 on one side and then maybe up to like from like maybe so like put like 20 through 20, like 20 through 26 on one side and then put like maybe from 26 to like maybe 18 on the other side and probably get your answer from right there. Just like shortening it so you won't have to like do a long number line just to get your answer.
Right. You could also count by 2s or 3s or 4s or 5s. It just gets harder the bigger the numbers are. So let's talk about how to do it without a number line. Okay, so these are what I call the rules. I like to say rules, but I'm going to call it the rules. Let me go back to black. Sorry. For adding or subtracting integers. Once you get these down, integers get so much easier. Okay, so let's talk about the sign. When I say the sign, I mean if it's positive or negative. So if I talk about the sign of a number, I'm talking about is it positive or is it negative? Actually, I'm taking that right out. Just the sign. I'll talk about the sign. I'll talk about sign in a minute. Okay, here it is. If the signs of your integers are the same, if the signs are the same, you add the integers and keep the sign. Going back to my red. If the signs of your integers are the same, you add the integers and keep the sign. And then we're going to look at a couple of examples before I do my second. There's only 2 rules. This is rule number 1. If the signs of your integers are the same, they're the same signs, they're either both positive or they're both negative, you add the integers and keep the sign. Now, half of this you're fine with because you already did adding some integers. So if I do 5 plus 2, isn't 5 positive? By the way, always look in front of your number for whether it's positive or negative. I don't see a negative, like that's not there. If you don't see a negative, I'm taking it out. That means it has to be positive. That means without writing it, I'm telling you it's positive. Taking that out too. So they're both the same sign, they're both positive. So I add them. 5 plus 2 is 7. and I keep the sign. They're both positive, so 7's positive. I don't have to put a plus in the front, I just put 7. Well, the same thing is true, except for putting the sign in the front for the negatives. Let's say I have -3 minus 4. Well, they are both negative numbers. Remember, minus is a negative, so this is a negative, and that's a negative. Minus is a negative, they're both negatives. So they're the same sign. So I add my integers, 4 plus 3 is 7, 3 plus 4 is 7, but I keep the sign, -7. If the signs are the same, you add your integers and keep the sign. -8 minus 12. I just want to write this underneath, just a reminder. This also could be written as -8 plus -12, because remember, a minus is a negative. You can think of it either way you want. Actually, I don't like those parentheses. Hold on. Let's take them out. Too much parentheses there. Okay, but I don't really use that because here I go. Are the signs the same? Yes. Okay, they're both negatives. I'm gonna add them. 8 plus 12 is 20, but I keep the sign. So same sign, I add the integers, keep the sign. So it's 20, but they're both negative, so it's -20. D, 100 plus 12. Well, they're both positive, so I'm going to add them. 100 plus 12 is 112, but they're positive, so I'm going to keep the sign. We don't write positive, we don't put a plus in front of 12, so it's just 112. So if the signs are the same, you add them and keep the sign. Signs are the same, add them, keep the sign. Perfect. Okay, so now what do we do if the signs are different? That's when it gets a little hairy, but we're going to talk about that next. Any questions on that part? If the signs are the same, you add them, keep the sign. Okay, so number two rule. If both signs are different, when adding or subtracting, it's only about adding and subtracting. So both signs are different. Signs are different. What the heck do you do? This is what you do. You subtract your integers and keep the sign of the largest integer. Keep the sign of the largest integer. And if both signs are different, so one's positive and one's negative, and you're adding or subtracting, you subtract the two integers and you keep the sign of the largest integer. Sounds complicated, but I think you'll get it after we practice a little bit. And we'll look at a couple examples. First example, -10 plus 2. you look at the 10, it's negative, and the 2 is positive. There's a plus sign. So we're going to subtract them. I'm going to write this down when I'm thinking in my head. I'm going to write down okay, so in my mind, I'm going, okay, 10 minus 2 is equal to 8. But 10 is bigger. So answer is negative 8. That's what I'm thinking in my head. So in my head, I'm going, okay, 10 minus 2 is 8. They're opposite signs, so I subtract them. 10 minus 2 is 8. But 10 is bigger than 2. And 10 has a negative sign. So my answer had to be negative 8. This one, remember that the minus is a negative. So I'm looking at positive 5 and negative 6. So since 5 is positive and 6 is negative, because that minus is a negative, I have opposite signs. So I'm going to subtract. So again, in my head, I'm going, okay, wait. Okay, so then 6 minus 5 is equal to 1, but 6 is bigger. And 6 is negative. So my answer has to be negative 1.
I don't know if it would help anybody else, but I tend to like visualize a number line in my head for people who I guess like visualize things in their mind when they're doing that. So like if it's easier to visualize it instead of writing it down.
Exactly. You can visualize it, yeah. You definitely can. It's just when you get to bigger numbers, it's really hard to visualize that. I love it. You can visualize it because you can think of 5 and subtract 6. So like for not what I think it's Maddie, right? Maddie, is that your voice? I think it was your voice.
Yes.
You can think 5 and you're gonna go back 6. Right here, 0. You're gonna go back 5 and one more makes you go to negative 1. That's
Right.
sort of saying, sort of visualizing your head. Good. Let's do a couple more of these. I'm gonna add a page though. These are the harder ones, I think. Okay, so let's say I have negative 9 plus 12. Okay, different signs, right? So I'm going to subtract them. 12 minus 9 is 3. But which number is my biggest? 12 is my biggest. 12 is positive. So my answer has to be positive 3. Here's a cute one. Minus 2 minus negative 4. Right. Well, we talked about this already. Just now it looks different because it's in like a, we've had to add and subtract them. But we talked about something already. We talked about what this means. This just means opposite of a negative 4. So I'm not going to do anything until I simplify that. I can simplify a minus a negative 4. And this can become negative 2 minus, or opposite of a negative 4 is a positive 4. Now they have different signs. So I subtract them. So 4 minus 2 is 2, but 4 is bigger and 4 is positive. So my answer has to be positive. Okay, now we're going bigger. 112 minus 200. Well, 112 is positive, and negative, minus is a negative. So that means 200 is negative. So we're going to subtract them. I'll do it vertically. Everything we practiced last chapter, right? I borrow from the 2, make it a 1, make this a 10. I have to borrow for the 0, make this a 9, make this a 10. So I have 8, 88. Okay, but the 200 is bigger and the 200 is negative. My answer has to be negative. Hey, questions. I have a lot of problems I want to practice with you. I mean, like you do some, I do some. We're going to mix it in a little bit. So I'm going to start, I'm going to mix some problems up and we're going to do back and forth. Some are going to be adding, some are going to be subtracting our integers.
Is
Question,
that what you
questions?
was doing with when we was doing a couple of practice problems?
Yeah, you're going to do a couple practice problems too. I'm
Okay.
going to start off by doing a few with you and then I'm going to give you something to do.
Okay.
Awesome. I know it's much better if you practice. I'm all about practice. Okay, so this is all practice. We're going to do a lot of practice problems. We'll start small and work our way up. Okay. I haven't shown you one like this yet, but this is the same thing as saying -3 minus 25, because minus is a negative. I could take that minus, that negative, and make it a minus, or back and forth. I think it's probably easier to look at it the way it was given. If I look at it, the 3 is negative and the 25 is negative. They're the same sign. So when they're the same sign, we add them and keep the sign. So 25 plus 3 is 28, and we're going to keep the sign. So the answer would be -28. But I do want you to know that these mean the same thing. I can rewrite one. I can go back and forth with the way I rewrite them. You can write them any way you want. So -3 minus 25 is the same thing as saying -3 plus -25, and vice versa. Two. 4 minus 9. Okay, first thing I do, look at my signs. I got a +4, I got a -9. They're opposite signs. So I have to subtract them. So 9 minus 4 is 5, but the 9 is bigger and the 9 has that negative sign. So the answer has to be -5. You hear how I'm talking it out loud? This is what I'm thinking in my head. Like I'm talking out what I'm thinking in my head. It's the way I want you to think it them through too, is think that way. Like, what are the signs? I have to add or subtract. I have to keep the sign, like that kind of thing. So 3. Oops. -20 minus 10. Okay, so I look at this. 20 is negative and 10 is negative. They are the same signs. So when they're the same signs, I'm going to add them and keep the sign. So 20 plus 10, that's 30, but they both are negative. So the answer has to be -30. -8 plus 29. Okay, 8 is negative, 29 is positive. They're opposite signs, so I have to subtract them. I'll do a little bit down here. 29 minus 8 is 21, but 29 is bigger and 29 is positive, so the answer is +21. Everybody getting a good feel on how this goes? Take practice. But when you get good at these, you get good at a lot of things.
Are we gonna do a couple more?
Oh, we got a whole bunch more. I got a whole bunch more. Don't worry, I have plenty. And if I run out, I have plenty in my mind. Okay, I'm adding the page. I want to do at least 2 that I haven't done yet with you, and then I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna 2 more, and then I'll give you practice problems. Okay, so I haven't done something like this with you yet. 0 plus -2. Well, 0 is not positive or negative, it's just 0. So if I add nothing to -2, it's just -2. So there is no like rule for this other than if you add nothing to something, it's to something. Like 5 plus 0 is 5. 0 plus -22 is -22. This stays the same. And the last one I haven't done with you is something like this. -3 plus 3. Well, they're opposite signs, so I'm going to subtract them. And I get 0. Well, once you get 0, there is no -0, so it's just done, 0. And that one's really cool to look at the number line too, because you're going back 3 to -3. So -3, and then you're going plus 3. Oops, that is not a good enough picture. Then you're going plus 3 and you're right back to 0. That's what answers 0. So you're going to the left 3. Well, this case, you're going right 3 and the left 3, but the same concept. All right, ready? Okay, this is yours. Give it a try. One. You get one? Get one? Yeah, you get one. Good. So -16 plus 17. So I subtract them. 17 minus 16 is 1, but 17 is my bigger number. So the answer had to be +1. Next one, -63 minus 5. That's yours too. By the way, they're all for yours now on. I'll stop for a little bit, then I'll go over the answer. Give it a try. -68. All right. They're the same sign. They're both negative. So I add them. 63 plus 5 is 68, but they're both negative. So I keep the negative, -68. Awesome. Be careful with that one. We got -7, you did good. Okay, So just to review it, -10, and minus a negative is the opposite of a -3, which means +3. Then I'm going to subtract them. I get 7, but 10's a bigger number, so it makes -7. Good so far? Everybody happy? Everybody seems to be doing really good. I see heads, good. Good, good. Okay, awesome. I want to get really, really good with these. It makes, when we get to algebra and putting these numbers together, it's so much easier. I try this one. You get 13. This one is their opposite sign, so we have to subtract them. 29 minus 16 would be 13, but the bigger number is 29, and that's negative, so -13. How we do? Yeah. Good. 11. And if you got 0, fix. So opposite signs, so when you subtract them, you get 0. Hmm. 12. -21 plus 30. And the answer should be 9. So they're opposite signs. So I do 30 minus 21. I get 9. But 30 is a bigger number and it's positive, so it's positive 9. I try that one. -42 minus a negative. If I rewrite it, I'm going to get -42 plus 4 So that means opposite signs, so I need to subtract them. Borrow. I get 38, but 42 is a bigger number, so it has to be negative 38. Get that one? Good, 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 good. Excellent. Okay. We're going to add on to it. So we're not going to do two. We're not going to add and subtract two things. We're going to add and subtract 3 and 4 things. Ooh. Okay, so what number am I? 14, 14. Okay, 14. We'll do this one together. So this is adding or subtracting. And by order of operations, you go by whatever comes first, correct? So we're gonna have to go in order by order of operations. So by order of operations, our minus comes first. So we need to do this first. All right, so 2 minus 3. They're opposite signs, so I subtract them. 3 minus 2 is 1, but 3 is a bigger number and 3 is negative. So that makes it negative 1. Plus negative, let's bring everything else down. And now the next thing we have to do is adding. So we have adding right here. Okay, negative 1 plus negative 4. Okay, they're the same sign. So I add them and keep the sign. So 1 plus 4 is 5. They're both negative, so negative 5. And then lastly, we have negative 5 plus 10. Okay, they're opposite signs. So I subtract them. 10 minus 5 is 5, but 10 is my bigger number. So my answer has to be 5. Good?
That's what I was just thinking about, Miss Garrett. Even though 10 is your bigger number, but you got negative 5.
Oh, that
So-
negative 5 is from this part right here. That's what that's from. That came from here. The negative 1 plus negative 4.
Okay.
Okay, this one's smaller. Try this one. Nine, is that right? 9? Okay, just to go over it.
I got
Minus a
7.
negative. You got 7? Okay, let's go over it. Maybe I did it wrong in my head. So hold on. All right, negative 5 minus a negative makes a positive. So I would rewrite that first. Then, by order of operation, we're going to do this first. So -5 plus 6. So opposite sign. I subtract them. 6 minus 5 is 1, but 6 is bigger and 6 is positive. Bring down to 8. And then 1 plus 8, same sign. So I add them, keep the sign. Answer is 9.
I subtracted instead of added. That's where I went wrong.
Got it. It happens. It's easy. Really easy to make a little boo-boo. Any other questions on those two? I'm going to change the page and go do some more. When you really get good at these, they're sort of fun. They're frustrating at first. I got it. They're really frustrating at first. Once you get real good at it and you get it down and you're like, oh, I got this. These are sort of kind of like a little fun. Okay, turn the page. I still see people writing, so hold on, I'll wait a second. Okay, looks like everybody's done now. Okay, so -16. Okay, 16. Let's look at -9 minus 2 minus 3 minus -1. Okay, I'm giving it to you. You got this though. It's really cute. I'm gonna see like that's all 2 cats already. That's awesome. That's cool.
Yes, he will not stop laying on my keyboard.
Right in front of your face, huh, Megan? Maddie, I saw your cat behind you earlier. It's cute.
Yeah, she's a rescue and she just wants to be held constantly.
Oh, that's cute. Megan, can you see? Okay. -13. Get it? Okay. Awesome. Yay, yay. Okay. Just in case. No biggie. -9 minus 2. They're the same sign. So I add them and keep the sign. 9 plus 2 is 11. So -11. Oh, see, now I should have done this first, but I'll do it now. My opposite of -1 is +1. I'll bring it down now. Now I do these two. Again, same sign. So I'm going to add them and keep the sign. 11 plus 3 is 14, but they're both negative. So -14 plus 1. And again, opposite signs. No, not again. Now they're opposite signs. So I subtract them. 14 minus 1 is 13, but 14 is a bigger number. And that is -13. Awesome. Look like you guys are doing good from just looking at your faces. Beautiful. I try this one. That's supposed to be a 6. Oops, we fix that. Okay. Just do one at a time. Ready for the answer? Ready? Get this. Negative 13. Should you get it again? Yeah. Okay, here we go. 18 minus 3, opposite sign starts to subtract. 18 minus 3 is 15, but 18 is bigger, so it's positive 15. Now I do these two. 15 minus 22. Okay, they're opposite signs, so I subtract them. 15 minus 22 is 7. 22 is bigger, but that's negative, so it's negative 7 minus 6. They are the same sign, so I add them and keep the sign, which makes 7 plus 6 is 13, negative 13. Awesome. Okay. You guys are doing great. Negative 1 plus 4 minus 8 plus 16.
It's like the cat wants to learn too, Miss Garrett.
Yeah, I know. I see the cat's been staring at us. I was giving a stare contest for a little bit. I love it.
He just wants to learn about integers too.
That's it. That's it. He's going to help you with your homework later on, or she. Okay, if you got 11, boo, 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 got it. Okay, so negative 1 plus 4 are different signs, so I'm going to subtract them. 4 minus 1 is 3. 4 is a bigger number, so it's positive 3. I'm going to bring everything else down. Next two. 3 minus 8, well, they're opposite signs, so I'm going to subtract them. 8 minus 3 is 5. 8 is a bigger number, and 8 is negative, so that's negative 5. And my last two are also opposite signs, so I subtract them. 16 minus 5 is 11, but 16 is a bigger number, so it has to be positive. Phew! We did it! My AirPod fell out. If your brain hurt, that's a good thing. That means you're learning. I've learned that before. When your head's like, oh my gosh, I can't take anymore. That's a good thing. So I think you did awesome. We're almost done both 2-2 and 2-3. A few more things in 2-3 to do, but that's it. Homework. Look at your homework. Practice. You guys are great. This all take practice. So just practice these with your homework, and then we're good. And then I'll see you Thursday, and we'll finish this up and moving right along. Anybody have any questions for me before we go?
No, ma'am.
Awesome. I'll be here for a little bit. If you're happy and done, I'll see you Thursday. You can sign off. And if you have questions, I'll hang on here for a little bit. I will send you, Rakia, I'll send you an email with all the information about the test.
Okay.
Have a good day, guys.